Ahoy!
Welcome back to Girl Concerns.
I'm Carly.
I'm Blair.
And this is the comedy podcast where we talk about history and our girls, bitch.
And today we're talking about conspiracy theories.
Yeah, the JFK assassination conspiracy theories exclusively.
Love that. We're joined again by Carly's cat,
Who is wicking out. She does not understand the concept of podcasting. I think it's similar to her to Zoom calls. Like there's something about the process of the Zoom call or a podcast where she goes insane.
Yeah, like it's very special and confusing, and she's not included. But
yeah, but she wants to. So she's like kind of looking at phantoms. Also, it's worth noting she is so clumsy. Like she really hits her head and falls off stuff a lot.
Yeah, she doesn't have that coordination.
Like, okay, no, but you can't go after the camera, Jennifer.
The tripod is the enemy.
It kind of seems like you might be good. You might jump from your chair to the tripod, and we cannot have that. So please do not. The camera we need.
Can't wait. But you were saying right before we started recording that you're kind of watching this like red pill content for
yes,
like,
I am.
Ironically, of like girls being like how to be unforgettable.
My favorite YouTube content. It's like a hate watch, but it's also like a fascination. It's similar to, as we've talked about, my obsession with RFK Jr.
Yeah, you can't look away.
I can't look away. I want to understand it, but also specifically with this like red pill girl content specifically. And when I say like red pill content for girls, I mean it's like it feels to me like a gateway kind of breadcrumb situation where
yeah, there's something like insidious behind it.
yeah, like it's not outright conservative by any means. It's not outright conspiracy theory by any means, but there's an ominous kind of energy to it that suggests that once you start watching these videos, you might get fed other stuff, right? And it's always stuff like being like how to tap into your divine feminine energy.
Divine feminine is so dark.
How to make him obsessed with you. How to win friends and influence people. How to use charisma to level up.
Yeah.
27 things that hot girls don't want to tell you about how you need to glow up, and I'm obsessed with it. Like it's similar to a year or two ago I got really into there's like Reddit content that's basically like high value females looking for high value men.
Sorry, Jenny's just putting on a show for us.
She's chasing her tail, thing I've never seen before. The sad thing is like because you know we live in an apartment, like I can't put her somewhere else. She's not allowed in our bedroom.
Yeah,
because
which I think is fascism.
She thinks so too.
Yeah, I'm with her.
Yes, she is obviously civil unrest. She is. Oh my god. Why can't you just sleep? You sleep all day except when I have to do something.
No, she's up. She wants to be a part of it.
If you are a fan of Jennifer, you could obviously. I've been updating her Instagram account.
Her Instagram has surpassed Jim, and I'm upset.
I know, and the content is not that good. Like the gym Instagram account,
gym content's so much better.
Is so much better. Like I'm not very good at it, but I haven't been getting notes back on my novel. It's only been 2 weeks, which is very, very normal. Let me say that's actually, if anything, about an hour in publishing time.
Yeah,
but I've
for
lost
sure.
my mind to the extent of which don't bite the chair, Jenny.
Well, I love that you've gone from the beginning of this year having a flip phone to now it's October and you have a cat Instagram.
I know how the tables have turned.
What a trajectory.
Exactly. If I can't have my flip phone, then I might as well have a cat Instagram account.
Might as well run 5 accounts.
And this is how I feel. But there's a video of her that I posted on the Jenny Instagram account where I'm on a Zoom call and she's just running full tilt around the room. And that's basically what's happening right now. I'm really worried she's going to try and jump on something higher and hurt herself because she doesn't have the coordination for it.
No,
I would say the Instagram account is fine. The pictures I take of her are, but the problem is I keep this room so dark.
Yeah.
That I can't ever have like really good pictures because the room is dark when I'm taking these pictures of her. Stop, Jenny. Stop.
Well, my phone also.
You can't scratch the chair.
Jenny.
Okay, she's doing her own thing now.
I don't know about you, but like my phone also just like straight up sucks now. My phone is like officially an old phone.
Yeah. My phone has really stopped working in a huge way.
And I'm like, I don't want to get a new one because I feel like that's so wasteful, but they truly just stop your phone working.
I know.
What's up with that?
I know. I feel like my camera's gotten much worse. She's playing with her wire and cardboard toy on the.
Well, that's good. That's good. Let her. But yeah, define feminine is really dark.
Yes, so the high value male, high value female thing is being like you have to be a high value female if you want to attract a high value male.
Sure.
It's kind of like that book that came out. It was like huge in like I feel like 2006 or whatever. That was like why men love bitches or whatever. So It's being like don't call him back. It's basically teaching you how to play games that you learn when you're young and then spend the rest of your life out. This is the real tragedy. I was talking to one of our friends who has a crush, and they were asking me like, well, what do you think? And I was like, the sad truth of the matter is I'm in a 7-year relationship that I bagged through playing games.
Oh yeah.
Like, I hate to say it, but I did do the like, okay, well, he texted me back 8 hours after I texted him.
So I'm gonna wait 9 hours.
I'm gonna wait 9 hours. I started the conversation, so now he has to start the conversation. I'm Gatsbying. I'm posting crazy ass Instagram stories to let him know that I'm out and about. I'm like, you know what I mean?
Posting
like,
photos from a party 3 months ago.
Exactly.
I'm out every night of the week.
But the sad thing about that is that coupled with being a genuine person works.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, it is true. So that's all the high value female stuff is being like, don't, make him chase you. If you work, and there are kernels of truth to it that I think are like, if you work on yourself, you should want somebody that brings to you what you want and what you bring to them. Like, a relationship is a two-way path in a way. And I don't think it's wrong for women to want to date, if you especially are dating straight men, a man who their definitions of high value I disagree with. It's like making 6 figures, it's all these things.
Yeah.
But I think it's fine to be like, I want to date somebody who has a basic understanding of hygiene and housework.
Crazy.
I want to date somebody who has friends and hobbies. I want to I think that it can work if you change the definition of what a high value man is. Oh.
Jenny unplugging the setup.
Yep, clotheslined herself on the podcast mic and is now running through the house.
All right.
She'll calm down eventually. All that's to say is I love those videos. The one that I watched recently, there's a couple of ones that I like, but the one that I actually like that isn't too dark but is adjacent to these dark channels is It Girl Playbook, where it'll be like,
that's cool.
It'll be like, the one that I was watching recently was the Charisma Matrix, where basically you figure out what kind of charisma you have and how to tap into it.
Okay. Okay. What one do you have?
So I think I'm Ice Queen.
Ice Queen.
So it's on a matrix of the x-axis is are you expressive or unexpressive?
Okay.
And I'm, of course, as with any personality thing, you have to put it within the vacuum of the people that you're around the most. I think I'm expressive in comparison to most people on planet Earth, but I think in my social situations, I'm less expressive.
Yes, you are.
And then the y-axis is warmth or competence, where the argument that they make is that everybody has kind of a forward quality to them. You could obviously be warm and competence, but which one comes easy to you? So it's like warmth or competence being like, do you come up with somebody who's incredibly warm and friendly?
Yeah.
But people maybe, overlook your abilities and things like that, or do you come off as somebody who's very like in control, but maybe you have to work on the warmth or whatever. So I'm unexpressive, and I would say competent over warmth in the vacuum of, I would say, like, our social circles.
Yeah.
Again, it's all comparative. I think.
So you're Ice Queen.
I'm Ice Queen.
Okay.
So I would say that you, Blair, are the diva.
The diva.
So I think that you are. I think that the diva is expressive and competent.
Yeah, I would agree. Those are I'm not warm.
So the diva. So I'm trying to think of the They had like little characters that are like, if you relate to these characters. Okay, so the Ice Queen is Miranda Priestley.
Sure.
The diva is Elle Woods.
Sure.
Which I think you have a bit of. I think you can be.
I love Elle Woods.
Yes. Then there's the Darling,
Okay.
which is that's warm and expressive. That's Princess Diana.
Sure. Okay.
And I forget what the last one is.
What would that be? Incompetent?
That would be warm and unexpressive. I think that's like a mystery. I think that's like, you're kind of mysterious, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay.
You know?
I gotta watch this video.
I know, guys. I'm giving the It Girl Playbook some free play. It really is like, I think a huge void in my life is the lack of magazines, like women's magazines for like young kind of hip girls or whatever.
I wish nylon was still what it was.
I want nylon. I used to buy Cosmo at the grocery store all the time, but they stopped stacking on shelf, like doing it on the shelf. So I just got a print a subscription to that.
Okay, stunning.
But like, I miss those. I used to eat up when I was a kid. There was nothing I loved more than like a J14, a Tiger Beat. Like,
yeah.
I loved that. I loved the like, the mix of like personality and fashion and essays and all that stuff. I love that. Or like what even like Vogue used to be or something.
Yeah,
I would have really loved, but we don't have that anymore.
No, it's so sad.
I want that we do have. So much of like women's content is being like 7 tights you need. Also, your abortion rights are at stake. Like, it's very like I think it's good that you know politics has been now it's now very much like an everybody problem. It's you have to be political. I think that's great. But I find it to be a bit like sometimes I don't want to be aware of the ever-present threat to my basic human rights.
Sometimes I just want to look at fashion.
Yeah, or like Cosmo, I think does a really good thing. I remember one time an article they had it was obviously a very sad article, and it was about like sexual assault in the Amish community.
God,
which is like really depressing, but it's like an interesting article that's not just about you. Like I think that sometimes we too often like filter politics through a filter of how does this relate to you, which I get, you know, mobilizes people who aren't inherently political. But I think that then kind of encourages us to think about politics through the lens of like, well, if it doesn't affect me, then I don't really care.
Yeah.
When it's like, well, you should just care because, you know, freedom for all, it's freedom from all or freedom for none, you know?
Yes.
We're not free until all of us are free, but we don't really, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't just encourage you to care about other people. Like it's just like, you should care about this because it relates to your senator in X, Y, and Z way, when it's like, well, this is just bad. We should just care because it's bad.
Yeah, seriously. That's how it goes.
So anyways, I'll send you a couple of these videos. They're so fun, Blair. And they really do make you be like, my favorite ones that I always are the ones when I start watching these too much and taking in the information correctly. And seriously, I'm like, I've got to take a break from this content because it'll be ones where it's like how to glow up.
Well, this is what I was gonna say is I get into these looks-maxing corners.
Yes, it's looks-maxing.
Yeah, because I've been thinking about doing the 75 soft. Have you heard of this?
I have. It's but explain it. I know it, but explain it.
It's just like the 75 hard, but for wimps. It's it's just like you eat healthy. You can only drink on like social occasions, and you can only drink like once a week. You have to get like 45 minutes of like any type. It's all stuff that I mostly already do.
Yeah, well, this sounds like a lot better because I know the 75 hard and I was like, I don't want to do this. I also inherently disagree with any kind of idea of like reading has to be for education. Like I feel like you can gain just as much from reading a fiction like novel and learn just as much about people in society than as nonfiction. I love a nonfiction. We're both reading Say Nothing. We were talking about it's fascinating.
That's like historical. Like they're always like, oh, you got to read like a self-help book, whatever. And I'm like, I don't know how much that is like. I feel like sometimes that fucks people up a little bit more than it actually.
Definitely. I think it's
them.
fine if like I have friends that like self-help kind of content just is a special interest of theirs where it kind of just feels like they're constantly consuming self-help content and books and stuff like that, which is not my bag, but at least I'm like, if you're consuming lots of different perspectives, then I think that's fine. It's when you're like, I'm going to read one book by this person, I'm going to take it as gospel, then I think that can be dangerous because then you're just giving a lot of power to one person as opposed to being like, I'm consuming the whole kind of oeuvre.
Yes.
But this 75 soft seems doable and good.
Yeah, it's basically stuff I already do. Like I already do 45 minutes of exercise and I eat mostly healthy, but it's like,
is it 45 a day?
Yeah.
Damn, okay.
But it can be walking. It's not like you have to be like lifting.
Okay.
It's just like I don't want to moving. Well, this is why it's like the bar's in hell for someone. That's what's so fucked up is that like for people to have a vegetable at every meal.
Yeah.
Is like, because that's like one of my, I want to have a vegetable or a fruit at every meal, which is like not crazy.
No, I think you can achieve that.
But then like as soon as you're looking up stuff like that, you get into this like looks maxing thing, which is just losing weight.
It so quickly kind of tilts away from wellness for wellness's sake. And even and when I'm talking about wellness, I'm talking about in general like mental wellness in a way of like the purpose of working out and feeling good in your body is not so that you can take a crazy fucking body check picture. It's so your brain feels good, you know, like your brain is your body, but it so quickly just turns into being like, it's really whack. Like it so quickly turns into being like, you gotta like, like you gotta eat what I eat in a day and it's like grains and little olives and that's it or whatever.
Like that's not like, it's not necessarily like inherently bad to like monitor your health in that way. It's just kind of weird that like we're relating it so closely to looks and so much of it is literally just restriction and spending money.
It's so much of it is spending money and it's so whacked me and spending time. Like I do really think like you got to kind of keep this is I think also not exclusively but very North American as a concept. When you think about more like, I can't speak for everywhere in the world, but I at least have more of an exposure to Europe than I do in other parts of the world. But so you know,
Sure.
People from other parts of the country, other parts of the world sound off in the comments below. But like, it feels like when you think about like Scandi girl or French girl beauty, a lot of it comes from kind of like, yes, clear skin, all these things, but it's very like natural.
Yeah.
In a way, like you want to seem like even if you are spending a lot of time that you're not spending a lot of time on how you look.
Yeah.
Where like a North American beauty standard, I think, maybe the UK is a bit similar to us. A lot of it is like openly, visibly trying and openly, visibly spending money. It's like the beauty equivalent to like a Louis Vuitton bag with the monogram on it or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you want to have the big lashes and you want to have the full beat and you want to have the hair extensions and the perfect body and the face has enough filler that people know you have filler. Like there's a weird kind of like wealth association and wealth signaling that comes from the kind of wellness beauty that we that our culture values.
It is super weird because I was on this like page that I got siphoned to through this like look smack,
and they're like, have you considered an eating disorder?
Well, and it was like, oh, like you should start getting Botox when you hit 25, and I'm like, that's crazy to tell people.
Untrue. Like, again, if you want to do it, whatever, it's your bag, go and do it. But like, I felt the same way, obviously, when I was 25. I got my jaw Botox, but I haven't gotten my face Botox. I'm not opposed. Hey, I'm not opposed. Let me just say that.
No, we're diving right in.
Yeah. But I think this idea of like, you should, I don't know, there's such you don't have to. Yeah. 25 is very young. And also, it's fine to just look how you look.
Yeah, there's just like
why can't we just look how we look?
There's such a like you should attitude to it all, and I think that's what drives me crazy.
And it's taking care of yourself and it's self-care, but it's like no, you should spend. What you're saying is I should spend money.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a little bit back in business.
Is anything new with you?
I watched K-pop Demon Hunters last night. It was amazing.
Give me all your thoughts because you texted me and I was obsessed. I was so drunk on the bus on the way home, and I was like, wait.
So it was like I missed a rave. Well, I came home.
No, I mean, not really.
I came home last night and I was like, in such a mood. Jumping into the records.
Yeah, she loves. Have I told you that she loves to lick the records?
That's cool.
Yeah, and I'm like, I guess this is fine. Anyways, you came home in a mood.
I wonder what's on those. I just sat on my couch on my phone for 3 hours, which is like honestly not really like a thing I do anymore. So I was like, something's wrong with me. TLDR for the podcast, I've been having a lot of family stuff going on since like midsummer.
It's been very, when it rains, it pours as well. Like,
and God, it's squalling.
And it's a squall watch.
It's a squall watch right now, honestly, for my whole life, but particularly
but for now, it's more. It's an increase.
Yeah, and I'm usually pretty good at mediating it. No,
stop! You can't eat the. You cannot eat.
She's eating my thumb drive.
She's trying.
But yeah, so I think it just kind of got to me last night. And so I was just like sitting on my phone and I was like, I need to do something. So I took a bath and watched K-pop Demon Hunters. And I'm like, well, I'm fixed.
It's literally a healing movie.
Yeah.
I really didn't think
nice.
It would work because I often don't find, like, I think it's amazing that a lot of the messaging of kids movies nowadays is like mental health. I think that's fantastic that the idea is being like, you don't have to change things about yourself and everybody feels this way, and it's about like a lot of it's burnout related or whatever. I think that's amazing. I don't often find it connects with me necessarily, even though I am mentally ill, just because I think sometimes it can be surface level because it's for kids. They can't get into the specifics. I get that. So I'm just like, oh yeah, okay. Like I'm like, yeah, that's good, but it doesn't hit. And K-pop Demon Hunters hit. I was like, wow. And the songs are fantastic.
Yeah.
That villain song when they're like, we're your idols or whatever.
That's cool.
It
I
rips.
Loved it.
It rips.
I also just feel like the rewatch value of K-pop Demon Hunters is so high.
And it's funny.
It's funny. I like the way they did it in a way that like if I was a kid, I'd be obsessed with that. I loved how they put in like those kind of like every time they had like a strong reaction, they'd have like one of those like classic anime faces.
It was so anime.
It was so cute. I really loved it. So that made me feel a lot better.
Definitely. And you learned that, you don't have to hide the parts of you that are hard to love.
Which was a nice message. And I do agree. I think the kids, because I'm little known fact about me, I'm actually like a pretty big kids movie fan.
Okay, love.
I really love.
New lore just dropped. New Blair lore dropped.
It doesn't feel weird to me, but I'm like, I will keep up with the kids movies. Obviously, I'm not going and seeing like Flappy Bird the movie.
Yeah, but you'll keep up with the animated, with the Disneys, with the Pixars.
Yeah, I like to keep up with the Pixars. I like to keep up with like, you know, stuff, because I just think some of my favorite movies are kids movies.
Yeah,
you know, and like Coco is, I think, one of the best fucking movies of all time.
Amazing.
You know, so I like to keep up with it. And I do think there's kind of this like inside outification of kids movies that went like a little bit too far. And I realized it with Encanto, where it was like, I just think we've maybe gotten a little bit, we're flying a little bit too close to the sun in terms of this type of content.
Yeah, I get it. I agree. I think also what was so great about Inside Out, or movies that do it well, what K-pop Demon Hunters did well too, is like, it's an interesting kind of take on it. Like it has something to specifically say about, let's say, mental health, right?
Yeah.
And about, you know, when the villain is always somebody who's been wronged by their family or whatever, right? Like it has something to say about that. But sometimes it doesn't have anything. When it's not done by a writer who obviously cares about the content, versus it's just done by a writer who, like, Disney has, you know, crowdsourced opinions on what makes the best algorithmic movie.
Yeah. Here's 5 hot trending topics in kids' mental health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where I always think about how Lilo and Stitch is, again, I'm not a huge kids movie person. I'm not antsy, but I'm not. You are. I'll see them with you a lot of times, which is cool,
love Lilo
because I'm
Stitch.
and I did watch K-pop Demon Hunters just because I'm in on the culture. I want to be in on the cultural touch points.
Because the girls are talking about K-pop Demon Hunters.
Definitely. When I was on Because News, which is like a Canadian kind of panel news comedy show, we had a whole section about K-pop Demon Hunters, and as with anything, because I'm under the age of 45, I was the resident in person, and they were like, "What do you think about it?" And I was like, "I have not seen it."
Yeah.
Like, so I wanted to watch it because of that. But anyways, Lilo and Stitch I think is fantastic because, again, it has things of mental health, but really it's not about mental health, but it's this idea of like you can understand the feelings because it's just feelings and it's human feelings. Where like really it's about, you know, this is something that's always been taught it's meant to be bad. And this is a little girl who's been taught that she's a problem and a nuisance. What does it mean when you've been taught that you're bad and you want to learn to be different? Can you learn to be different? That kind of thing. It's not about necessarily mental health, but those are things that everyone feels like. There's times where you're like, I just feel like I'm bad. I just feel bad.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about Lilo and Stitch, I read this whole, like, Vulture did this oral history on it before the live action came out. And it was made in the animation studio in Orlando, which was far away from LA, right? Like everything that was happening in LA, they just did Mulan, which took like 7 years to make, and people like got divorced and stuff. It was hell or whatever. And Mulan rips, like let it be known. Honestly, worth it. I would say.
Animated Mulan?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mulan
worth it.
Fucking rocks.
But they're working on a different one that I think didn't do well while Lilo and Stitch was happening. But because they were focusing on some other movie, they didn't really care what was going on with Lilo and Stitch. So like, it got to be weird, and it got to have those like watercolor backgrounds, and it got to be about Hawaii and like the people who actually live there and stuff like that. It got to have queer representation with Pleakley and Jumba, of
and
course.
That is queer representation.
Pleakley is doing drag, you know.
Let's go.
So I think like K-pop Demon Hunters is a good example of that, because I think Sony sold it to Netflix for like really, really cheap, because they're just like, we don't really care about this. I don't even think it's gonna be whatever. Like they just kind of like whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And it became fucking huge. But it didn't really have that huge of a budget compared to how big it's become. It wasn't meant to be a big movie, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the same thing of like when something kind of gets underestimated, the benefit of that is it gets to just kind of become what it's meant to be without all of these inputs of these execs and stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and kids will pick what they like. Like if something doesn't resonate with kids, you can't
force it
resonate with kids. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of stuff that like obviously it's nice to have plots, but also like it just felt like something that a kid would love to watch. Like her riding that like big cat through the sky. I was like, this is kind of Ghibli coded.
And
you know?
all of the just like the different girls, which is something that I feel like they don't do enough of in media for kids specifically. Like when I was growing up, I loved like a Totally Spies or whatever, because it's like
Are you blonde, redhead, or brunette?
Exactly. You need to let people choose who they are.
Yes.
You know, you need to let people identify with different parts of all the characters. And each character was so specific because it was so simplified down and very, very short. And so much of it was music to begin with. It felt like it had to be so economical with its choices that it was like, this character is this. This is this character's motivation. This character is this. So because it didn't have it wasn't afforded.
Yeah.
To be complicated. It had to be so simple that you're like, great.
Oh yeah, and like to bring back Encanto, which I'm not bashing Encanto. I don't know if we have big Encanto.
Haven't
defenders.
seen.
It's worth a watch. It's really fun.
That's We Don't Talk About Bruno.
I rewatched it. I re-listened to We Don't Talk About Bruno. That song goes fucking hard. I'm sorry. Haters of We Don't Talk About Bruno's catch me outside. How about that?
That's your hear me out.
That song, hear me out. It's a Lin-Manuel Miranda fucking banger, dude.
I believe it. I don't think I really heard it too much, but
we don't talk.
I'm a huge, obviously, Lin-Manuel Miranda defender. Is he cringe? Absolutely. But you don't get a MacArthur Genius Grant by not being cringe.
No.
You can't be a genius if you are afraid of cringe. I'm sorry.
No, you can't. No, Lin-Manuel Miranda, we should get him on the pod.
I know. I honestly think first of all, want to say one of my favorite things in the entire world is when a Rachel Zegler posts an Instagram grid and then I see that Girl Historians podcast is commented on it. Rachel, we love you. Come on the pod.
No, this is me whenever I'm drunk. I go to her thing and I comment. But then I get
girl.
likes on the fucking comments. I'm always like, no one will see this.
No,
then it gets
see.
like 40 likes.
But that's good. We need to get her on the pod.
We gotta get the track. Keep it up, guys.
I genuinely think we need to figure out some way
how to get her on.
This is the thing. Obviously, this is not a good plan because it takes so long in advance. Like it's so far out.
Yeah.
But I feel like our plan C, we'll figure out what plan A and B is to get her on the podcast. Is I have to write a book that gets picked up by Reese's book club.
Okay.
Right? Reese Witherspoon, not Reese my boyfriend.
I was gonna say Reese has a book club.
It needs to get optioned by Hello Sunshine.
Sure.
And then they can be like, oh, who do you want to play the main character? And
Rachel
Zegler.
Yeah.
It has to be filmed in Toronto because all my books take place in Toronto, I've decided, that's where it's gotta be. And then because she's a part of that project, then she kind of slowly gets assimilated into our friend group.
Yeah.
And just becomes a bestie and she gets on the podcast.
Yeah.
But that's 5 years out.
Yeah. At least 5 years.
So we need to figure out other plans to get her on the podcast.
I think we just gotta start messaging more aggressively.
I don't know if she's checking her messages because she probably just gets crazy
I've messaged her
melted
a couple of times.
I've seen that as well. Yes.
When I go on message her.
Yeah. But I feel like she's not checking her messages because people are sending her like brain rotted shit. So we've got to circumvent this somehow.
One of you's got to know, Rachel Zegler.
Because she's out and about in London in a real way now, right?
Guys, come on.
If we do history of musical theater or something,
yeah, we'll flag her.
Right?
We'll flag her.
We'll get her.
But yeah. Where is that about Rachel
Zegler? We don't talk about Bruno.
Oh yeah. No, there was another thing about Rachel Zegler that I'm forgetting. He told me that the man of my dreams. But yeah, K-pop Demon Hunter banged. I can't remember what else I was saying.
Yeah, it's so good.
So it's probably not
great
important.
songs. And I'm happy those women are getting famous, the singers and whatever.
Yeah.
Because again, what we were talking about before the episode started, we were talking about Say Nothing in the show, and you're saying like it's nice that like some of the people who are getting famous from this and then from House of Guinness, it's like they're like in their 30s, which is always lovely to see, like somebody who's like popping off.
It's also just nice to see
and
people like
too.
And a bunch of people on House of Guinness, like you go to their profiles and they have like 2,000 followers, and it's like, oh, so they just got hired because they're good at acting.
Yeah, which we love to see.
I love this. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
I've been watching Celebrity Traders, and which if anybody has been thinking about watching Traders, you should watch Celebrity Traders. It's the UK. It's so funny. It really did make me be like, sometimes celebrities are just kind of better people than regular people. Like they are just so funny.
They're better.
And it's
we should pay them more.
Yeah, we should pay them more. Well, it's a more fun vibe because they're playing for charity as opposed to like life-changing money that they need. So the vibe is a lot more easygoing. They just want to be there because they like traders. They don't want to be there because they need money for their leg transplant or whatever.
Tough.
Which, is kind of Squid Games. It's not Squid Games.
Don't love that vibe.
Or Squid Game, not
Squid
Game.
I think Squid
Game.
Squid Game?
Because it's just about the game.
Oh, okay.
There's one of the games that they play in the game is called Squid Game, if that makes sense.
Yes.
We're calling it Squid Games because of Hunger Games, I feel like.
Okay.
I think that's what we feel like the name of the games is Squid Games.
Excuse me.
All that to say is one of the people on it. Her name is Kat Burns, and she's like kind of like a lesbian pop girl from London. I love her. She's got such a cool vibe. And I followed her when it started, and now she has like 1 million subscribers. But like I was popping in there, I feel like at 30K. I feel like I was like,
hey girl.
You know, it really can. Your life can really just change overnight because you're on Celebrity Traders.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that's crazy about like, I think that not to be like I'm an expert on fame or anything, but like,
you are.
But I feel like you don't realize how many people who like they seemingly pop up out of nowhere. It's like they've been doing shit for years.
For years.
You know what I mean? And
what is that thing? It's like it takes 10 years to become an overnight sensation.
100%. And it is kind of crazy where it's like you look at these people and you're sort of like, oh fuck, like this kind of like seemingly like booming overnight thing has been creeping up for years and years and years. And it just takes one thing to kind of tip you over.
And, you know, that's one of those things, too, they talk about where it's like there's not really like more often than not, there's no actual like big break. It's just like a bunch of little breaks that eventually accumulate into whatever. You know, you just kind of keep hacking at it.
Well, that's how I feel about Anthony Boyle and why I'm like, this guy's a fucking star.
Yeah.
It's because like he hasn't actually done anything where it's like this is his thing.
Yeah, he wasn't a Paul Mescal and Normal People or something where it's like a pandemic. Like there's a thing where it's like this is the thing that you will be like you've done the first line of your obituary kind of vibes.
Yeah, exactly. Like known for this. Well, I just listened to the entire Emma Watson interview on Jay Shetty.
Oh, me girl.
Did you listen to it?
I'm not finished, but we can talk about it because I did have to listen to it because I'm obviously, you know, really shows you my love of Emma Watson that I'm listening to a Jay Shetty podcast.
Okay, first of all, who the fuck is Jay Shetty? Know nothing about this person.
He's like a podcast guy.
He's like a wellness?
Yeah, he's kind of a guru adjacent. Okay. I read his Wikipedia page because he was on Meghan Markle's cooking show.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So, you know, that's kind of the vibe that's
sure.
going on. The vibe I get from him and his girlfriend was on and she's a vegan chef, so obviously I have to stand.
I love.
And she's gorgeous and she has that kind of like East London accent that's kind of raspy, very amazing, just an amazing voice. You know what I mean? And not a singing voice. Yes, a Charlie XCX. Olivia Dean, that kind of thing. And so he's like I looked him up afterwards because I was like, why is this guy like run the best, most popular podcast? Do you know what I mean? And he's like a wellness guy. His Wikipedia page seems to indicate that he was like, I went to a Buddhist monastery.
Yeah,
and studied these things, whatever.
He was,
and
like,
then the monastery was like, you were here for 2 weeks. Like it's kind of
interesting.
You know, I think really his skill is, as with so much of this stuff, it's not the actual value that you provide. It's like the story that you tell and your own myth is so compelling to people.
Even like knowing nothing about him and listening to the podcast, I was like, this is a great interviewer.
Yeah, which is obviously a really, really underrated kind of skill because the most popular podcasts are like the most annoying people who cannot interview to save their life. And he's a good interviewer.
Well, because even like Caleb Harriman, I love him boots down.
Yes.
There's no interviewing in that podcast. Like
no, it's let's riff and catch up. Like, by the way, I'm going to riff. You can jump on if you want.
Which I love, but sometimes I feel like you're getting obviously entertaining people in here. I'd like to know a little bit about them. Yeah. Just like a tiny bit.
Totally.
And then you can do all the riffing.
But I agree. Jay Shetty's a good... So tell me about the Emma Watson of it all.
Oh, just that like... I was just thinking like... I think one of the worst fates for someone in like an artistic profession is to just have like one thing that they're ever known for. Because like... You're never going to escape Hermione Granger.
No.
And I think we've talked about this before that like Daniel Radcliffe has executed his career perfectly in the way that like he will just sign to weird projects to get them greenlit because he is Harry Potter.
Totally.
If Harry Potter in your movie's getting made.
I know the vibe I was getting from the interview with her was kind of like, I was like, oh, this has actually kind of ruined her life in a way. Yes. Because I think like she's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. I almost think she gives me the impression almost of somebody who thinks about things too deeply.
Yes.
In a way where you want to be like, you actually would benefit from being around people that are like more normal because these are just people who can't afford to think about things. It's that Jemima Kirk thing of being like, I think you might be thinking about yourself too much. There's a value to kind of more normal people who are like, I can't think about if this is the thing I'm meant to be doing because I have to make rent. You just make a choice, right? So her talking about like the impression I got was very much like she loves acting, but acting has kind of in many ways ruined her life because the experience on Harry Potter was so good that then she's never going to get that anymore. Because she would be doing acting because she has so much money too, just for the experience of it and to enjoy it and to meet people and to have that kind of family unit that they had on Harry Potter, which she's never going to get again. And she's going on to these projects with just like professional adults who are like, I'm here to work.
Yeah, I'm here to do a job.
There's that inherent like tension where it's like there's people who are like, I'm here to do a job, I'm not at your level, right? So it's like I have to bust my ass. I don't really care.
Yeah, I'm not Hermione Granger from the Harry Potter series.
Yeah, like I have to do this.
Yeah.
And I think that because she thinks so deeply, as opposed to like Daniel Radcliffe or even Rupert Grint, who I think are also people who obviously think deeply, but it's like they were just able to kind of make a choice where it seems like Rupert Grint's like, I don't want to act anymore. I'm just going to be kind of uneccentric and have a baby with my wife who's from Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging.
I love.
Live my life. And Daniel Radcliffe seems to be somebody who is like, I genuinely enjoy the process of like acting and making movies and being in plays. So like that's the vibe I'm going to follow as opposed to trying to keep up this level of fame. And it feels like she's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place where it's like she just has to make a decision.
Well, and it kind of was giving the impression, because there's the famous story, I don't know how famous it is, but like according to the Hollywood rumor mill that she turned down La La Land for Beauty and the Beast, because she thought that Beauty and the Beast would be like a bigger project and would bring her more fame. And it is kind of giving the impression that like she's chasing things that will make her a star.
Well, this is the rumor mill you've heard of. I've heard that La La Land thing, but even separate to that of like in recent years, she's kind of been going around being like, she's not saying it like this makes her sound unsympathetic, but she's been going around being like, I should be a bigger star.
Yeah.
And from like, she's in Perks Being Wallflower, one of my faves. She's in Little Women, one of my faves. She is not a fantastic adult actor. Like, and I think she could be if she did more training and stuff, obviously. Like, I think acting at a certain point, 'cause she's a compelling person, it's more just about like honing your craft as an adult and continuing to hone your craft, which I think she could do. But I'm like, you don't seem to care as much about acting as you do about like, you seem to enjoy being on set and you enjoyed the industry or whatever, which I think is fine. Maybe that's also why she wants to be a director, which I think she could probably do really well. I mean, I would be interested to see if she made like I'd be interested to see her like premiere project or whatever. I'd be interested to see what she thinks of. But when I watch her act now, the vibe that I get is not like, this is somebody who loves acting.
No.
And I'm talking about that as somebody who also is similar in that way of like, there are people who just love the pursuit of it and would do it whether or not they got famous at it. They love acting. They love the process of it. And that's not the vibe I get from her. I'm like, you went to Cambridge she went to Cambridge. She went to Columbia or whatever. I'm like, girl, like, I think you should be like a writer or a producer or something like that.
She should be an academic.
Yeah.
Period. And, she was talking about writing a play in this podcast. Or like she's written like a one-woman play, like for her friends and family as part of her master's degree, explaining what life is like to her. And I'm like, that is so interesting. Like, I'd be more interested to see you working in something like that as opposed to, just kind of taking on these like kind of bizarro roles.
Yeah. Well, this is the real like Jeanette McCurdy thing of so often people who want to write will write about themselves and their lives just genuinely aren't interesting. Yeah. And they're not a good enough writer to write about their uninteresting life in an interesting way, like Joan Didion or or whatever, right? Or Joan didn't necessarily write about her life as much as she just was a character in her journalism or whatever.
Yeah.
Jeanette McCurdy is a good writer, but also has a very interesting life.
Yes.
So when you read I'm Glad My Mom Died, you're like, this is fascinating. Because you, unlike a lot of people who kind of take the wrong lessons from these autobiographical writer women, you have an interesting life. Like, you have interesting things that people actually want to hear about. Yeah. Because your life is so different from everyone else's. It's the same thing as like Educated by that woman. I haven't read the book, but it's like a very popular book where it's like about, I think, growing up in like a cult or whatever, or like being homeschooled in a cult or something like that. Where it's like Emma Watson, I would love to watch her like semi-autobiographical whatever play, movie. Oh, yeah. Like, her life is fascinating.
And no one else will ever have a life. Like, especially those three.
No one's going to know.
Like, no one's ever going to have a life like those people.
And she, I think, like, again, if you're somebody who overthinks stuff to a certain extent, I'm like, writing and directing is for you. What if all of
That's got to be how you do it.
Yeah, what if all of these thoughts were for others,
Yeah. But I was just really thinking about, like, it is so easy to siphon yourself into a hell of your own making. in any part of life, but like especially like I don't know. I was just thinking about it. It's kind of crazy.
I think it's important in your life, and that's like the benefit that like you and I would have as opposed to somebody who had like crazy success as a child. Mm-hmm. Of at least just kind of like a comparison of a regular life and understanding that. You have to understand what your worst instincts are so you can fight against them, I think. And I think a lot of people's worst instincts are, you know, pursuing fame over pursuing quality. Yeah. Where some people's worst instincts are pursuing quality over pursuing releasing anything.
Yes.
Like, you got to figure out what your worst instincts are and fight against them.
Yeah.
And then if you can, then I think you can be happy.
Yeah. And it's a lot of damn work, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
A lot of damn work.
Should we talk about the Kennedy assassination stuff?
But first, a word from our sponsors. Hey, history lovers, quick detour from the past to your present.
That's right. Let's talk about dinner tonight.
If you're like me, by 5 p.m., you're negotiating with your fridge like it's a treaty.
Spoiler alert, it never wins.
So that's why we started using HelloFresh.
Yes. You pick from over 80 recipes each week, and they send you fresh ingredients right to your door, and then suddenly dinner doesn't feel like an unsolved case.
It's fast, easy, and it actually tastes good. Honestly, it does taste good. I do really like the recipes, and no deciphering ancient scripts or guessing what's for dinner.
And the best part is that it is flexible, so you can skip a week, swap proteins, or change your box size. HelloFresh adapts and changes to fit your life, not the other way around. I made the huevos rancheros inspired rice bowl. It's vegetarian, so you can pick what meals you're making depending on your dietary restrictions or meal goals.
So if you're ready to stop doom scrolling and start dinner, try HelloFresh.
You'll get 50% off your first box with free shipping.
Head to hellofresh.ca and use code GIRLHISTORY50. That's hellofresh.ca code GIRLHISTORY50 for 50% off and free shipping. Also, I think it's our 2-year anniversary of the podcast.
Today?
Maybe not today, but definitely this season.
Oh my God.
This vibe.
2 years?
Yeah. Right?
I think you're right. No, I
really
think you're
wrong?
probably, no, you're right. Because
Right?
I got the flu right after we started doing the podcast.
A podcast marked by Carly's flus.
My life-changing flu. Did you also see all those people being like, BC is not, or AD is not after death?
Okay, yes. Okay, so, correction. AD isn't after death. My Catholic school
I was
told
taught
me
that as well, but
after death.
somebody explained it in a way that I was like, yeah, no, duh, you're so right. Of being like, if Jesus died when he was like 32, then that what would, if it's only before Christ and after death, then what are those 32 years? Like, what
Doesn't matter. That was when Jesus was living. We didn't need to count.
Those were 30 beautiful years.
I swear to God, hand on my heart, my Catholic ass school sat my ass down and said AD is after death.
I agree, but I know it's wrong. Like,
no, for sure it's wrong.
Once they said it, I was like,
it doesn't make any damn sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
I think somewhere deep in my soul, I knew that it wasn't after death, but
it feels correct.
Sometimes
and therefore, no one should criticize
us. The power of Christ
us.
really compels me.
Yes.
Also, something I learned embarrassingly in the last couple of weeks: Protestants don't worship Mary, Mother Mary.
What do you mean?
Like, they don't do anything with like Holy Mary, Mother of God.
They just pray to God?
They just pray to God and Jesus. There's no Mary.
Yeah.
Like, Mary exists, but they don't pray to her.
Yeah. I do know that because I went to a Protestant school, which was not a thing I thought really existed. Upon reflection in adult life, I'm like, I went to a Protestant elementary school. That's insane. That's insane.
That's really funny, actually.
St. Anne's School of Annapolis. I don't know if it's got a different name or what's going on there.
I feel like if I see a school that says like Saint anything, I'm like, that's gotta be Catholic. I know,
but I don't think it was Catholic. Let's look this up.
No, I'm sure it was like, at least like in my experience, like, I don't know if your parents were like, we gotta find a good Protestant place to send. But yeah, that blew my mind. And I saw someone talking about it on the internet, was like, when I see a Protestant and I'd be like, where's my mother?
So we're talking about the different kind of conspiracy theories surrounding the JFK assassination today.
Let's fucking go.
So I've kind of cut it up into a couple of different sections where like we'll be talking about the background. There's a lot of like alleged kind of like witness tampering or witness suppression or evidence tampering, and then we'll also talk about some of the main players and kind of like conspiracy theories that are huge, and then we'll talk about more of the kind of like fringe ones.
Okay, love.
What I do want to say is a lot of these things came before, like conspiracy theories these days, as we know, are very, very politically charged. Where a lot of the JFK assassination conspiracy theories, although obviously relates to politics and in some ways can be politically charged, it's hard to talk about conspiracy theories, I find now, because so many of them are just like anti-Semitic or racist in some iteration or whatever, right?
Thinly veiled.
Exactly. So while I've tried to parse through all of these to kind of make sure that they just come from a genuine kind of distrust of government or want to kind of pull the thread, it's always just worth kind of saying that. I think most of these come from like the 70s to 90s, where you would hope that that would be less prevalent. I mean, it's obviously the past, so it's bad. But you know what I mean? Where it's like nowadays, basically any conspiracy theory comes back around to being like radicalized to the right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm sure we could still make those connections. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, and because the right has kind of co-opted a distrust of government in such a strong way, and specifically the specific brand that we're kind of dealing with now, kind of post-Trump, it's now kind of pushed a lot of people who are on the left into these positions where you almost have to then defend institutions when you're like, that's not really like what we've done historically.
Yeah.
It's like now all of a sudden, you know, you're in this position where you're like, I have to defend science.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Because y'all really don't believe in it. So now I have to be like, I love vaccines.
Yeah.
Because y'all
getting
are
a little
so
out of hand.
crazy. You know, where it's like, it used to just be like, you know, there were conspiracy theories on all sides of the political scale. But now it's like we've been pushed back into this kind of corner where you have to be like, no, the government is good. When you're like,
the government
wait a
is
second.
good. Government, believe in your politicians. Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, for sure.
I think that's also kind of important to state that, like, because of the Kennedy assassination, like, a lot of people believed that a lot of these conspiracy theories come from people on the left who in some way, shape, or form believed that it was a sort of conspiracy theory because he was a left-leaning president.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of conspiracy theories for people on the right because people wanted to kind of blame this on the Iron Curtain and communism as an excuse to stop discussions with, you know, the Soviet Union to end the Cold War, things like that.
Sure, yeah.
So, immediately after Kennedy was shot, many people suspected that the assassination was a part of a larger plot, and broadcasters speculated that Dallas right-wingers were involved. So basically, immediately as it happened, people were like, this feels crazy.
Yeah.
That's also due in part to the fact that it's just an insane thing that happened.
Yes.
It's also just, as we've talked about a lot, like, the story itself is unsatisfying, and there's so many strange things that happen in it, that you do just kind of go like, well, I've been trying to watch all of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies.
Huge.
Obviously, yes, let me say, people are like, whenever I've been logging Paul Thomas Anderson on Letterboxd, people are like, he abused Fiona Apple. And I'm like, yes, he did. I'm not signing off on his actions, but I find these movies really, really interesting. I love one battle after another. And I watched Magnolia. And the kind of premise of that, which I think is fascinating, is like, we're so often focused on things that are happening that don't, like, being like, well, that doesn't make any sense. That's not what happens in real life.
Yeah.
Or even in stories being like, well, that would never happen in real life. When in actuality, just like real life is crazy.
Yeah.
So anything could happen.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's this idea of being like, you know, yes, there are a lot of things that are strange about the Kennedy assassination. That doesn't mean that it didn't happen, or or the story we've been told isn't true. Just because the world is insane.
Yeah, the world is insane and random.
Have a lot of conspiracy theories about the JFK assassination because it's like happened so fast. It's weird that you could just snipe a president from his open convertible. Insane. It's wild that it's just one guy, as the story that we've been told is. He then kills a police officer, goes to a movie theater, gets arrested, and then is killed by a different guy. Like, there's a lot of unsatisfying kind of things about that. And then the different guy gets killed.
Yes.
Like, it's like, what's happening? So in 1964, after being appointed by President Lyndon B. Johnson, the Warren Commission, which is the commission that was basically put together to look into the JFK assassination, concluded that Oswald had acted alone and that no credible evidence supported the contention that he was involved in a conspiracy in any way. Okay?
Yeah, so they're like, he just thought of this himself and he did it. And,
yeah, definitely. And in 1979, the United States House Select Committee on Assassinations agreed with the Warren Commission that Oswald had killed Kennedy, but they concluded that the commission's reports and the original investigation were severely flawed.
Sure.
So while they were like, yeah, they were right, but like they shouldn't have, like they didn't have the evidence to back this up. And they also concluded that 4 shots were fired with a high probability that 2 gunmen fired at Kennedy and that a conspiracy is possible.
Yeah.
We'll get into that as we go along when we talk about the magic bullet theory and the grassy knoll. But basically, the Warren Commission has contended that there was only 1 gunman and he fired 3 shots. But there is a argument that there was a second shooter that has never been caught to this day that fired shots from either the grassy knoll, which is just like a grassy hill in a different direction.
Love that we picked knoll over hill.
It's honestly, the human beings are so beautiful in so many ways. And like the way that we tell stories, I find so lovely.
Yeah.
We're
it wasn't a hill, it was a knoll.
It was, first of all, it was a knoll, so write that down. Or there was another building across the street that we'll get into that they thought it might have happened
Okay.
at. So this second kind of committee is like, it's possible. Okay? Kennedy's youngest brother, Ted, wrote that he was satisfied with the Warren Commission, and RFK was a strong advocate for the accuracy of the report. Obviously, RFK Jr., insane brainworm, was like, it's not true. And my dad never believed that. But I'm like, when he died, you were a baby.
Yeah, how would you know?
You were a child.
Yeah.
Seems like maybe you're just lying. One thing you gotta say about RFK Jr., biggest liar in the entire fucking world. Like, nobody loves to lie more than him.
Yeah.
All he loves to do is lie, eat tuna, and have his brain eaten by worm, you know? So, the immediate aftermath. After Oswald's death, the FBI director, J. Edgar Hoover, wrote a memo detailing that he did not believe that the Dallas police would have enough to convict Oswald without the help of the FBI.
Okay.
And he wrote, I am concerned, the thing I am concerned about, and so is the Deputy Attorney General, is having something issued so that we can convince the public that Oswald was the real assassin. So they were like, we need to do this. I think it's very similar to like the aftermath of Luigi Mangione as well, of like, these acts of violence really terrify people in power because it's a reminder that really there is a very thin line between a thin blue line.
Yeah.
Between
Jesus. They're only human.
That people that we can really dissent anytime we want.
Yeah, and it is interesting that like there is the theme of just people getting assassinated by these people working completely alone is like almost comforting, where it's like, well, it's just one crazy person.
Yeah, and I remember before they had caught Luigi Mangione, the big thing that they were pushing forward was that this was a guy who was ex-military or hired assassin.
Yeah.
And it's like they were doing that to be like, you can't do this. Do not do this.
Exactly.
You cannot do this. You did. And then when they caught him, they were like, he's mentally ill.
Yeah. There's something wrong with him.
So I think that's kind of what's going on here is like they didn't want it to be a part of a larger conspiracy because communism was such a worry at this time, and these kind of like underground agencies encouraging government dissent. They wanted the public to feel safe even though the president had been absolutely murdered.
Yes.
Top government intelligence officials were also finding that, according to the CIA, someone had impersonated Oswald in phone calls and visits made to the Soviet and Cuban embassies in Mexico City several weeks before the assassination.
Okay.
So they were like, we've intercepted these phone calls and it's a different voice and a different person impersonating Lee Harvey Oswald.
Why
before
would they
the
do
assassination, which is something that people use. I think it kind of is like that could be a conspiracy.
Yeah, okay.
Because a big thing that Lee Harvey Oswald said before he was murdered by Jack Ruby was that he was a patsy, that he was set up.
Okay.
I do think he shot him, and I don't think he was set up. I do think it's not out of the question that there could be in some way, shape, or form a conspiracy at a low level.
Yeah.
I don't know. The point is to say, like, we have no clue what happened, and we'll never, ever find out. I do think if there was any proof, Donald Trump would have released those files to distract from the Epstein files.
Seriously.
Like, I do genuinely believe if there was any proof in the CIA or the FBI files, he would have released it.
Yes. Because he is crazy that way.
Yeah, and there was that time when he was just saying random shit, and he released a bunch of those JFK files when the Epstein files were, people were like, well, you send a birthday card to Jeffrey Epstein with a poem written on it. And I read those files and there's nothing in there. There's literally nothing interesting in it at all. But I do think if there was something legitimate, he would say it.
Yeah.
I also think if there was aliens and he knew, he would say it because he's so desperate now to just
They
distract.
must be hiding stuff from him.
I think that would be smart.
Because aliens for sure are real.
But I don't want them to be.
Also, didn't they admit aliens were real?
But there's always stuff like that where they're like, you've seen that Mexico Congress thing with the fake little aliens.
Oh yeah, but that was crazy.
Yeah, but I'm saying they're always like aliens are real. I think it's obviously selfish to think that aliens aren't real, but I'm like, I don't know if the dummies in charge.
I think the government literally came out and were like, we've found aliens.
Well, they found like microscopic proof that there could have been life before on Mars and stuff.
Yeah.
I think what they don't know, I don't think they know if there's aliens around
There's
now.
like higher intelligence.
Yes, and they don't know if they're around now. Like there's been proof of things in the past.
Yeah.
Like that Mars could sustain life and stuff.
Yeah, which is so crazy.
Yes. On November 23rd, 1963, the day after the assassination, Hoover's preliminary analysis of the assassination included the following. So it was an extremely sensitive report that identified that an individual identified himself as Lee Harvey Oswald contacted the Soviet embassy in Mexico City inquiring as to any messages. So asking if there was any messages from him from the Soviet Union. And they had observed photographs of the individual that they referred to and listened to his voice like this. So they saw photographs of this person saying that they were Lee Harvey Oswald, and they heard recordings of this individual saying they were Lee Harvey Oswald, and it wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald. But the same day, Hoover had a conversation with the president where Johnson said, "Have you established any more about the visit to the Soviet embassy in Mexico in September?" And Hoover said, "No, there's one angle that's very confusing for this reason. We have up here the tape and the photograph of the man at the Soviet embassy using Oswald's name. That picture and tape do not correspond to this man's voice nor his appearance. In other words, it appears that there was a second person who was at the Soviet embassy." But then they were talking about how they were like concerned that the public might believe that it was a assassination attempt by the Soviet Union or Fidel Castro.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, well, we don't want to go into war. That'll kill millions of Americans. So we're just not going to report this.
And they've got a point.
Yeah. Okay, now let's talk about, that was kind of complicated. Now we're going to talk about discrediting witness and evidence tampering, okay?
Okay.
Bill Sloan, who was one of the witnesses for the Warren Commission, he wrote that the assistant counsel attempted to humiliate, discredit, and intimidate him into intimidating Sloan. Sorry, let me just say this over again. Because Sloan is a woman.
It's okay, that's so me.
I'm like, wait, okay. Her name is Jean Hill. The person who interviewed her is Bill Sloan. So
Okay. I understand.
So there was a biography written about Jean Hill, who was a witness for the Warren Commission. In this biography, they wrote that the Warren Commission assistant counsel attempted to humiliate, discredit, and intimidate her into changing her story. She also said that she was abused by Secret Service agents and harassed by FBI and received several death threats.
Okay.
Also, several eyewitnesses have said that the Warren Commission interviewers repeatedly cut their testimony short, or ignored several things that had said, or stifled any comments that would cast doubt on the idea that Oswald acted alone. Several accounts of people who were also eyewitnesses said that they were intimidated by either FBI agents or anonymous individuals into altering or suppressing what they knew regarding the assassination. There was an employee called Joe Molina, and he was intimidated by authorities and lost his job soon after the assassination.
Oh.
There was also a witness named Ed Hoffman who was warned by the FBI that he might get killed if he revealed what he observed in Dealey Plaza the day of the assassination. The witness who saw, so obviously we know that Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK, left the Texas school book depository. He was sniping him from upstairs, left, got in a car, got pulled over by a police officer, killed the police officer, went to a movie theater, was arrested.
Yes.
The eyewitness in the murder of the police officer, him.
Yeah.
He was shot in the head 2 days after first talking to the FBI about his witness, giving his witness statement.
Okay.
Later survived and then testified to the Warren Commission that somebody had attempted to kidnap his 10-year-old daughter.
Oh my God.
There's also a lot of false reports. There's a real kind of belief that all of the Kennedy all the Kennedy witnesses died.
Yeah.
They didn't die, but it's just kind of this thing of feeling like they were suppressed or whatever.
Yeah. So basically the Warren Commission was going out and trying to control the narrative.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Also, the Warren Commission ignored the testimony of 7 eyewitnesses who said they saw smoke in the vicinity of the grassy knoll at the time of the assassination, as well as an 8th witness who said he smelled gunpowder. In 1978, Gordon Arnold had told the Dallas Morning News that he had filmed the assassination from the grassy knoll and that he had given the film to a policeman. And Arnold said that he never saw the footage again. So he gave and then he said he was afraid to report this to the FBI because he was like, I'm going to get murdered by the FBI.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could have just been the cop being not good at his job.
Water is wet.
But
Cop
still,
not doing job.
But still crazy.
Yes. A lot of this stuff, it's you also just have to remember that people are insane.
Yes.
Some of these things are probably true, and some of these things are also people lying or
also it must have been a high pressure day.
Yes, and just also people not you give your footage to the police and then they submit it, but then it gets lost or whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Like, okay, cool.
A million things could happen. It doesn't
Thank
necessarily
you.
mean it's a cover up, but it is just things that people bring up when they talk about the cover up. Another witness, identified as Beverly Oliver, came forward in 1970. She also said that after the assassination, she was contacted at work by two men who she thought were either FBI agents or Secret Service, and the men told her that they wanted to take her film of the day because she was filming JFK as well.
Yeah.
And they said they were going to have it developed and then returned to her and use as evidence. And then they just took the film and never returned it again.
Oh my God. I mean, could any of this be kind of under the guise that like it was like a murder case?
Yeah.
And they're keeping the
100%.
evidence,
Yeah.
you know?
Also, it's
not
like
to defend the government.
It's also like the 70s, so like nobody, like it's also possible that they just fucked up the film. Like there's a million different examples. Also, people lie, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's the equivalent of people who are like, people were like, I was there. Who was that guy who was the actress who played Marnie? Allison Williams. Brian Williams died or lied.
yeah.
He lied about being like a copter in some crazy war-torn thing, right?
That's so cool.
And also people lied about like being almost there at 9/11. Like people really love to kind of claim proximity to tragedy.
Yeah.
So while some of these things probably are true, it's also like this is the most famous thing that's ever happened in the history of the world, and people are going to want to be like, I was there too.
Well, it's like how my mother was followed by Paul Renato.
And you're like, and maybe.
Pretty compelling, I'll be honest. But I'm still kind of like, really?
She might have been.
He was in the neighborhood that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Scary. Paul Bernardo was the Scarborough rapist, for anybody who doesn't know. He's like a famous
Yeah.
serial killer, and him and his girlfriend, he was just a kind of like a serial rapist on his own, and then him and his girlfriend started to kidnap people and murder them and torture them and whatever.
Carla Homolka.
Carla
who got a
Homolka.
French degree from Queen's University.
Yes, girl.
While in prison.
Wow. She was in one of those crazy prisons that were like low security or whatever.
Kingston Penitentiary.
Well, she moved to a different one. I think that was in BC or something.
Oh.
That was just basically like, you know, I mean, it's still jail, so it's not good, you know.
Went
Not
to
good.
this guy's house once, and he had a naked picture of Carla Homolka on the wall.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I don't like the places you have frequented. They're scary.
I didn't frequent. I went there once.
Yes.
I wasn't hooking up with him.
Yeah.
It was just a guy I knew. He didn't speak English.
Okay, so there are a couple of like alleged pieces of tampered or like fucked up evidence that we're going to talk about, okay?
Yes.
So there's a single bullet, also known as the magic bullet.
Make any dinner in 10 seconds or
The
less.
magic bullet, but it's basically like there's a missing bullet
Okay.
that could be in like one of the guy's bodies
Okay.
that they just didn't take out, or it could be, you know what I mean? They
Could just be anywhere.
yes. Because they've alleged they found 3 bullets, but people say that there was 4 shots. But the official kind of Warren Committee report is that like 1 bullet went through Kennedy and then shot the guy behind him.
Interesting.
So they think that that's where the 4th bullet is in that guy's body.
Oh no.
But then his family, once that guy died, like years and years later, were like, you're not gonna just tear his fucking body apart.
Yeah,
looking
for the magic bullet when you could get it on TV.
Yeah, for
four easy
$9.99 a month.
installments
Yeah.
of $19.99.
Yes. Also, the presidential limousine's windshield was taken and destroyed. There is a paper bag in which the Warren Commission said Oswald had hid the rifle. There are backyard photos of Lee Harvey Oswald holding the rifle, which people at the time said were doctored, but there's also been experts who have looked at them like in recent years and have been like, they're not doctored. Like he didn't hold the gun. I mean, I think he did shoot the president and did have a gun. Like I don't think he was amazing.
I think he definitely shot JFK.
Yes. There is the Zapruder film, which is the official kind of film of the day. That's like it's like the official film of the day that people have said has been tampered with or whatever. But other people, again, experts have said it hasn't been, so who knows?
Okay.
Then also photos of Kennedy's autopsy. People said that like the autopsy was fucked up or whatever.
Okay.
But again, I don't think that this is necessarily true.
That dead body looks fucked up.
Now we're gonna talk. That's all just the evidence. That was like the most complicated stuff. Now we're just gonna talk about the grassy knoll and the magic bullet.
Okay, can't wait.
So the Warren Commission determined that 3 bullets were fired at the presidential motorcade. One of the bullets missed the vehicle entirely. Another bullet hit President Kennedy and passed through his body, and then struck Governor Connolly behind him. Okay?
Yes. And
Governor Connolly lives.
Whoa.
I believe. We're going to talk about that
good for him
as we go on. Another bullet then hit President Kennedy and it was in his head. That was like the killing blow, right?
Yeah.
So this is the official report, and this is the thing of like the magic bullet of like this bullet managed to pass through Kennedy, go all the way through him, and then shoot another guy.
Okay.
That's kind of crazy.
That's a little nuts.
So other people allege that there was the second shooter because only 3 bullets had been fired from, I guess, like, from Oswald's rifle.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, there's actually 4 shots.
Yeah, instead of the 3.
And then 1 came from the grassy knoll, and that's what hit someone. That's like the 4th shot.
That hit Governor Connolly? That did whatever.
That I don't know which, if the 4th shot was the one that hit Governor Connolly or hit Kennedy. But the idea is that Kennedy was shot twice. 1 missed the motorcade and 1 hit Governor Connolly. But the official report is that there was only 3 shots fired, but 1 hit 2 people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a stretch.
I don't know enough about guns to know if that's I mean, like, bullets, I've seen on TV, sometimes the bullets pass through people.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's real.
I just feel like, well, because bullets are supposed to pass through you. That's the thing.
Okay.
Because if it lodges in you, that's worse.
Okay.
It's just like a whole thing is like Israeli bullets are designed to stay in you.
Jesus.
Which is like evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like, so they're supposed to pass through you, but I just don't know whether or not it would actually hit another person. But also on a logic level, why wouldn't you have a second shooter on the grassy knoll? Like, not to be that person, but like...
Yeah, if you're planning.
Yeah, if I'm putting everything on the line, I'd be like, hey, I'm going to die either way. Could you just make sure this goes through?
Definitely.
And I'll take the heat for it.
And, you know, when in our episode with John Green, where we were talking about the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, I would also imagine you would just want to have more people involved so that if somebody chickens out on the day, you still have somebody trying to shoot the president.
Yes.
You know?
And it just feels like anytime there's like this kind of like organized guerrilla crime schemes, you know, like in Say Anything, when they do the London bombing, they have like 4 different cars. Or they had like 7 that ended up being 4 that ended up being 3 that actually
because shit happens.
Yeah.
So you want to have like more than just one.
You got to have backups.
Yes, exactly. So the argument was like, well, if the bullet is in, if we found 3 bullets, then maybe the like missing mass that was taken out, because they took out the bullets of people when they were operating in them or whatever, but they only found enough mass for basically 3 bullets. And the argument was like, oh, well, maybe there's still the magic, like maybe the 4th bullet is still in Governor Connolly.
Okay.
Which I had said before is like, then they were like, oh, when he died, they were like, well, why don't we just autopsy him? And then his family was like, please no.
And fair enough.
And yes, I support that.
Especially if it's like years later when he dies and the family's like...
Oh, yeah, and he died in 1993. So he did die after the
film. Yeah, 30 fucking years later, you get a call, hey, can we dig through your beloved, passed away fucking family member's body?
I know you're probably so fucking tired of hearing about the JFK assassination because it's just like something everyone talks about, and your beloved family member was present that day.
Yeah.
But can we rip him open in the hope of finding some billet fragments?
Please, Liz.
Is that okay?
A lot of people, I feel like in that time just had like, I feel like it was way more common to have like bullets in you and shrapnel in you.
Definitely, because like everyone went to war too. You know what I mean?
If
you just had it in you and you're like, hey, and the doctors are like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's better for it to rock in there than to remove it. Like, it'd be more dangerous or whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like, let it rest. My thought process is, not knowing enough about bullets, as you said before, I am privy to a second shooter on the grassy knoll.
Yeah.
The thing is, I can't believe that they still wouldn't have found them, is the thing. That's the part that I get stuck on.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless it was a conspiracy of a high order, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Someone's hiding the second shooter.
Yes. So the shots also themselves were fairly impressive. As we talked about before, Oswald was a sharpshooter in the military.
Yeah.
But people had questions whether or not it was possible for him to fire off these shots in the small amount of time that was allotted. Like, would it make more sense if there was 2 shooters? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I shoot 2 bullets and then you shoot 2 bullets. That's way faster than I shoot 4 bullets.
Yeah.
Right? Also, conspiracy theorists have contention that Oswald was a bad shot. That's just like not really true. Like, he was a bad shot for a marksman, but that's still way better than
like the average
any
person,
other human being on the planet. You know, it's like when people think that they can beat really bad NBA players at pickup, and it's like the worst NBA player is way better than the best person on your pickup team.
I think about this when because on TikTok I got all these Dream Academy rankings,
and you're like, even the worst girl on Dream Academy is better than some regular ass fucking person. Yeah.
Like, you think you can do that dance?
You think you can do that? You're wrong.
Entity, fragile. They're like, this performance was weak.
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to see you do it.
Yeah, okay.
Michaela, 16, Oregon.
Yes.
God.
Also, Governor Connolly's wife says that she does believe that her husband was wounded by a separate gunman.
Yeah,
And she was sat next to him that day.
That's believable.
Yeah. A lot of people at the scene of the crime were like, they were 2 gunmen. The hard thing about this is like, it's kind of psychologically proven that firsthand statements in like times of mass violence or like active shooting situations are famously horrible.
Yes.
Because you're terrified. So it's like, and auditorily, it's really hard. Like, we are not built as humans. Our hearing is really not that good. Mm-hmm. So like, we can say like, oh, well, for sure the bullet came from in front of me. That's where I heard it.
Yeah.
But it's like our hearing is very,
yeah,
very bad.
We don't fucking know that.
We don't know.
There's
and
no
like
way we can know that.
And all these things and just the way that like crowds move and stuff make it so that firsthand accounts are bad.
Yeah, 100%.
Similar to this kind of magic bullet theory, the Warren Commission has concluded that all of the shots fired at President Kennedy came from the 6th floor window of the Texas School Book Depository. Again. So they think, again, this is of the single shooter theory, right? Like, they all came from the same place. This is, I think, going to be kind of long, so it actually might be better if we talk about, like, the grassy knoll herself, and then these separate conspiracy theories in the next episode. Yeah. And then this is kind of like a primer to the assassination conspiracy theories, and then the next one will just be the conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. This is all background, and then there's separate conspiracy theories about who did it, why. People have thought way too much about this for way too long, myself included. Like, there's people who think it's like an FBI, CIA informant situation that Oswald was working for the FBI or the CIA. Yeah. And was set up by the FBI and CIA because they assassinated Kennedy. People think it's because of the military-industrial complex, which, like, yeah.
Yes. Sure.
People think that it was Cuban exiles. People think that it was the Cuban government. People think that it was the Soviet government. People think that it was organized crime and Jimmy Hoffa.
Oh my God.
There's a lot. So I feel like that's what we should talk about next episode.
Yeah. I'm into that.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening. I know it was very kind of informative and info heavy, but next episode will be a bit more just like fun, conspiracy theory.
Yeah. No, this was really interesting. Okay. It really was. Do you want to do Let's Make This Tragedy About Us?
Okay, based on the information that you have right now.
Yes.
First of all, how would you assassinate President Kennedy if you had to? Obviously, I guess you're like an alt-right dissident.
Yeah, okay. It's 2025 or it's the 60s?
It's the 60s.
Okay.
You're doing kind of like the Stephen King novel about the Kennedy assassination. You've been sat. Oh no, this is better. Okay, wait. I thought of it better. You've been sent back in time to stop the Kennedy assassination.
Okay, sure.
How do you stop the Kennedy assassination?
How do I stop the Kennedy assassination? I make everyone believe in love again.
Aww.
Aww.
Through the power of song.
Through the power of song. We're going up. I feel like I would stop the Kennedy assassination by giving them a damn roof on the car.
Yeah,
I've said this before.
You'd be like, huge pitch.
Simplest answer is often the right one.
Maybe we shouldn't just be sitting in a convertible in Guntown, USA.
I'm going to go to Guntown in my shooting car.
Yeah, the car with literally no protection.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's crazy. It just seems like it was set up for failure.
Yeah, I would get Lee Harvey Oswald into improv.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
Yeah, I'd get him into arts and he'd be expressing himself. And then he wouldn't have time to assassinate the president.
Exactly.
The damn president, if he was expressing himself.
That's so true. If he had a house team to perform on, holy shit.
He'd be too busy because he would be missing Herald rehearsal to assassinate the president.
Yeah, 100%.
And you can only miss so many Herald rehearsals in a semester, otherwise you get kicked off the team.
Yeah, exactly. Or else like you don't understand the beats.
Exactly.
I've never done a fucking Herald.
You don't need to. I have. I humiliatingly took a Herald class that I think was 4 months long. Too many months.
I must have done a Herald, but like maybe I blocked it out or I forgot or something.
Though, because like I feel like the Herald's kind of out now.
No, the Herald. When is I cannot remember the last time I saw anyone do a Herald.
Little Miss Normal used to do Heralds.
Did they?
Yeah, at the beginning of
God,
Mrs. They
blocked out so many memories.
You have Herald-related trauma.
Of Herald trauma.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for listening.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.